Alright, this is my video blog for, I don't even know what day it is. Wednesday, September 10th, 2008. Got a few things that I'd like to talk about, and then I'm out of here. I got some errands to run. I just got out of the shower, got to do some shit. It's already almost 3 o'clock, and I still have schoolwork and all sorts of fun stuff to do. Anyways, Evan Tanner's managers and friends and such have gotten together and put up a tribute website where you can go and post your thoughts, stories, anything you really want in memoriam to Evan Tanner. I'm going to go ahead and place that link up on this side or this side of the blog, so you can just click more and it'll bring it down and you'll be able to see that. Also, the Evan Tanner's passing got coverage by the Associated Press. There's a link to it on YouTube. I will also post that on either this side or this side of the page. It's pretty incredible that, I mean, the dude, he was loved enough and fans were passionate enough to the point where he got mainstream media coverage, and that's pretty big. He's, reaching beyond the grave and still supporting the sport, I love him. You can't help but to love Evan Tanner. Anyways, in other news, Tito Ortiz opened his mouth again. I don't know what his inspiration is for needing to open his big yapper, but he had to say something to keep himself in the spotlight, I guess, seeing as he's outpricing himself out of all contracts. No, he did not sign with AFFLICTION, for anybody who thinks that he did. They weren't able to pull off that deal because he priced himself out of it. This is the quote that I have from him. He's talking about Juanito Ibarra, Rampage's manager/coach, and he's pissed off at him. This is what Tito says. I quote, "Let me explain this to you because it really pisses me off that Ibarra has done what he's done. He's a thief. I've been running training camps for 7 years up in Big Bear, California, and the most that my camp has cost a fighter to attend is $35,000. Ibarra was charging Jackson $65,000 to go to Big Bear. I don't understand that. He was being very disrespectful and taking advantage of Rampage, including travel, training, partners, food, and lodging. The most ever was $35,000. Maybe if you flew in more trainers, $40,000. Where did that extra money go that Ibarra was charging? Rampage is really pissed, and he feels betrayed that he was taken advantage of. And I couldn't agree with him more. I don't care if Juanito reads this himself or hears about it anywhere else. He already knows that he's blackballed. I don't care who you are. Fighters work very hard for the money they earn, and I feel slighted for even knowing Juanito." And in the article, it continues on. This is end quote. And the article goes on to say, "It is believed that when Jackson found out that Ibarra was overcharging him following his loss to Forrest Griffin in July at UFC 86, he went on a fast that caused delirium and ultimately resulted in the hit-and-run accident in California." Maybe his points are valid. Maybe Tito does actually, for the first time in his entire career, have a valid point. Bottom line, where does he fall into this picture, and why is it up to him to bring out the news? If Rampage wanted it known, if anybody else wanted it known, then they would have said something. There's still plenty of credible guys that train with Juanito Ibarra. Juanito is still coaching or managing Czech Congo, who's possibly could hold a future heavyweight belt in the UFC. It's not his place. Tito's just a big-headed, big mouth, and he won't shut it. I'm not Tito's biggest fan. Next on the agenda, Rousamar Palhares got screwed. Dan Henderson made $100,000 to show and $150,000 to win his fight with Rousamar Palhares. Now, Palhares signed the contract, so you can't argue with that. But he made $7 G's for that fight. $7K, $7,000. That's all he made for that fight. The dude is 17-1 before the fight. He is a good fighter. He is, as far as I'm concerned, he's probably going to wind up in the top 5 middleweights in the UFC anyways. He might get a title shot eventually. I'm really looking forward to seeing Paul Harris climb the ladder in the UFC and hang there with the big dogs. I can't wait to see him fight upcoming. I don't know why they didn't go ahead and place Hendo with Marquardt or somebody like that, but regardless, I feel like Paul Harris got screwed. Again, he signed the contract, so I guess you can't too much argue with that, but I don't see how $7,000 is going to pay bills for too long. I don't know where he's training out of. I believe it's in Brazil, but could be wrong. In other news, Boss Rutten and the IFL crew have now joined Affliction. This is almost laughable. I don't think many people who really know what's going on or have followed Affliction, not to say that I'm on the inside or anything, believe that that promotion is going to last too long. Dana said that he'll be horrified if Affliction lasts until January. It may not, but I just don't see it lasting too much longer. Even with Donald Trump behind it, I don't care unless the Donald is just willing to lose money, and by the handful, I mean, I just don't see Affliction sticking around. I think in their day, they're gonna offer MMA some great fights. I mean, they already have contributed some really good fights to the careers of some heavyweights and others. They've put on some good stuff, but I just don't see him lasting too long. I don't see how bringing on El Guapo and the rest of the IFL crew is going to do him too much good. We'll see about that. I don't know. I think it's laughable. With the UFC 88 win, Nate Marquardt is looking for a second title shot. Here's my problem with that. This is my only problem with that. Because I like Nate and I respect him as a fighter. I think he's a good guy. And I think he presents a challenge to anybody. If Nate Marquardt fights Anderson Silva after Silva gets done destroying Cote, which claim on about that if you want. You know, Cote's got a puncher's chance, just as well as anybody else. I'll be proud. I'll be happy for him if he goes past round 1. But if Marquardt steps in with him and loses again, I mean, all we're going to be seeing in the middleweight division is a constant influx of sequel fights with Anderson Silva. We've got to get some new blood in there. The middleweight division is one of my probably top 2 favorite divisions in the UFC. Don't ask me why. I just don't see anything happening. I know Dana said he's anxious to bring in Kung Lee. That'd be cool. I'd love to see Anderson versus Kung Lee. I really want to see Paulo Filho versus Anderson Silva, but when asked about that fight, Filho commented that fight's never going to happen because they're friends and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not a big Filho fan anyways. I'm a big Anderson Silva fan, even though he destroyed my man Rich Franklin twice. I root for him to lose every time just because he destroyed Rich Franklin, but I really like the guy as a fighter. I think he offers a lot, and he's as far as the personality is concerned, he's great. I mean, he has respect for everybody except for unless they don't make weight. So we need to bring in more blood, new blood. Kung Lee, that'd be great. I want to see him fight Paul Filho though. That's one of the biggest fights that I want to see. I want to see Anderson versus Filho. It's got to happen. There's got to be a big enough paycheck out there to make that happen. Again, We're going to do shout-outs at the end of every video. I do 3 per video until I get through my list of my favorite posters that I think contribute the most to the forums. It's just my thank you to you. It's not that it means anything to anybody. That's all I got going on for today. I got to go pick up my Henry Rollins tickets now and go ahead and put those on Craigslist and post my Who's the Biggest Badass thread face-off in the OT, so you'll be seeing that today, probably before I leave. And that's all I got going on for today. See you tomorrow.